My name is James Whitaker. I'm 94 years old, and I want to tell you about my best friend. His name was Thomas. Tommy Rizzo from Brooklyn, New York. We met 81 years ago in the spring of 1943 at Camp Toccoa, Georgia. He died 78 years ago, May 5th, 1945. And not a single day, not one single day has passed that I haven't thought about him. I'm telling you this because, you see, I need you to understand something about friendship, about time, about what we waste when we think we have forever. Tommy and I, we had 22 months together, less than 2 years, but he was closer to me than my own brother, closer than anyone I've known before or since, and I want to tell you how that happened, and why even now, 78 years later, I can still hear his voice. I was 19 years old when I enlisted, January 1943. My father didn't want me to go. He said I was too young, too soft. But honestly, I wanted to prove something. Prove I was a man. Prove I mattered. So I signed up for the paratroopers. Airborne, the 101st. They sent us to Camp Toccoa for basic training, and that's where I met Tommy. First day, we're standing in formation, and this guy next to me, short, maybe 5'7", skinny as a rail, he leans over and whispers, "You think they're actually gonna make us jump out of planes?" And I look at him and I say, "That's kind of the whole point." And he grins, this big, stupid grin, and says, "Yeah, I figured. Just wanted to make sure I signed up for the right kind of crazy." That was Tommy. Always talking, always grinning, even when he was terrified. We went through basic together, and let me tell you, basic training in 1943, it wasn't like today. They broke you down. 5-mile runs before breakfast. Obstacle courses in the mud. Jump training where you hit the ground so hard you thought your legs would snap. And the whole time Tommy's right next to me. We'd help each other through it. When I couldn't finish a run, he'd grab my arm and pull me along. When he couldn't make it over a wall, I'd boost him up. We became a team without even deciding to. It just happened. By the time we finished training, we were inseparable. Got assigned to the same unit, Easy Company, 506th Parachute Infantry Regiment, and in September 1943, they shipped us to England to prepare for the invasion. We spent 9 months there, training, waiting, wondering if we'd actually see combat or if the war would end before we got our chance. Tommy used to say, "Jimmy, you think we're gonna make it through this?" And I'd say, "Yeah, we'll make it. We'll be fine." I believed it. I really did. June 6th, 1944, D-Day. They woke us up at 2 in the morning. We put on our gear, over 100 pounds of equipment, parachutes, weapons, ammunition, rations. We climbed into the C-47 transport planes and took off into the darkness. The plan was to drop behind Utah Beach, secure key roads and bridges before the invasion force hit the beaches. Simple. Except nothing in war is simple. The flight over the English Channel was rough, flak everywhere, anti-aircraft fire lighting up the sky like fireworks. Our plane got hit twice. I remember sitting there packed in with 18 other guys, and I looked over at Tommy. He was gripping his rifle so tight his knuckles were white. He looked at me and said, "Jimmy, I'm scared." And I said, "Me too, Tommy, me too." That's the thing nobody tells you about war. Everybody's scared. The guys who say they weren't, they're lying. We jumped at 1:30 in the morning. I went out the door, and immediately the noise, the chaos, it was like nothing I'd ever experienced. Tracers flying past, explosions below, the sound of the plane engines and the wind and men screaming. I hit the ground hard in a field somewhere in Normandy. I had no idea where I was, no idea where my unit was. I was alone. I spent the next 6 hours trying to find Easy Company. I ran into a few other guys from different units, but no one from my company. And the whole time, all I could think about was Tommy. Did he make it? Did his chute open? Is he alive? I didn't know. And honestly, that fear, that not knowing, it was worse than the Germans shooting at us. Finally, around dawn, I found a group of guys from Easy Company holed up in a farmhouse. And there he was, Tommy, sitting against a wall, eating a can of rations like nothing had happened. When he saw me, he jumped up and grabbed me and said, "Jimmy, I thought you were dead." And I said, I thought you were dead." And we just stood there for a minute, two kids from America who'd somehow survived the night. The next 11 months were the hardest of my life. We fought through Normandy, through Holland during Operation Market Garden, through the winter in Bastogne during the Battle of the Bulge, and through all of it, Tommy was right there. We dug foxholes together, we shared rations, we kept each other awake on watch. We talked about what we'd do when we got home. Tommy wanted to open a restaurant in Brooklyn, said he was going to serve the best Italian food in New York. He had it all planned out, the menu, the name, everything. He was going to call it Rizzo's. And he made me promise I'd come to the grand opening, December 1944, Bastogne. We were surrounded by German forces, no supplies, no reinforcements, freezing cold, running out of ammunition. We dug in and held our position for weeks. Tommy and I shared a foxhole. We'd take turns sleeping 2 hours on, 2 hours off. One night, it must have been around Christmas, we're sitting there in the snow and Tommy says, "You think we're gonna die here, Jimmy?" And I said, "No, we're gonna make it. We've made it this far." And he said, Yeah, you're right. We made it out of Bastogne. The siege broke in late December and we pushed forward into Germany. By April 1945, the war was almost over. Everyone knew it. The Germans were retreating, collapsing, surrendering. We all thought the worst was behind us. We thought we'd survived. We were wrong. May 3rd, 1945. We're moving through a small town in Bavaria. Barely any resistance. Most of the German soldiers we encountered were just kids, 15, 16 years old, surrendering without a fight. We're walking down this street, clearing houses, and Tommy's ahead of me. He's always ahead of me, always first through the door, always taking point. That's just who he was. And I hear a shot, one shot, and Tommy drops. I ran to him. He was hit in the chest. There was so much blood. I tried to stop it, tried to put pressure on the wound, but I knew. I knew it was bad. His eyes were open and he looked at me and he said, "Jimmy, I don't want to die." And I said, "You're not going to die. You're going to be fine. We're going to get you out of here." But we both knew I was lying. The medic came over, looked at the wound, looked at me, shook his head. There was nothing anyone could do. Tommy grabbed my hand and he said, "Tell my ma I wasn't scared. Tell her I thought about her. Tell her I love her." And I said, "You tell her yourself, Tommy. You're gonna make it." But he didn't. He died right there in that street, May 3rd, 1945. 5 days before the Germans surrendered. 5 days before the war in Europe ended. We were so close. So damn close. I carried him to a field hospital. I wouldn't let anyone else touch him. I carried him myself. They took his body, logged his name, his rank, his serial number, and that was it. Thomas Rizzo, 20 years old, Brooklyn, New York. Gone. I didn't cry. Not then. I couldn't. We still had a job to do. But after the war ended, after I came home, that's when it hit me. I'd go to sleep and I'd see him, I'd hear his voice. I'd remember things he said, little things, stupid things, and I realized I'd never hear his voice again. Never see that stupid grin, never go to the grand opening of Rizzo's. In 1946, I went to Brooklyn. I found his mother. She was living in a small apartment, alone. His father had died when Tommy was a kid. She opened the door and I introduced myself and she just started crying. She said, "You were his friend. He wrote about you in his letters." And I told her what Tommy said, that he wasn't scared, that he thought about her, that he loved her. I lied. Tommy was scared. We all were. But I told her what he wanted her to hear. She asked me to stay for dinner. She made pasta, Tommy's favorite. And we sat there and she told me stories about Tommy as a kid, about how he was always getting into trouble, always making people laugh. And I told her stories about Tommy in the war, about how brave he was, about how he saved my life more times than I could count. And we cried together. Two people who loved the same person and lost him. I'm 94 years old now. I've lived 74 years without Tommy. I got married, had kids, had a career, a whole life. And it's been a good life. But there's not a day that goes by that I don't think about him. Not a day that I don't wonder what he would have been like at 30, at 50, at 70. What kind of man he would have become. what kind of life he would have had. Every year on May 3rd, I light a candle. I sit alone and I think about Tommy. And I say out loud, "I miss you, buddy, I miss you every day." Because he deserves to be remembered. He deserves to have someone say his name. Here's what I want you to understand. Friendship, real friendship, it doesn't require years. Tommy and I had 22 months. But those 22 months meant more than most people's entire lives. We went through hell together. We kept each other alive. We knew each other in a way that's impossible to explain to someone who wasn't there. If you have a friend, a real friend, someone who's been through something with you, someone who knows you, don't wait. Don't assume you'll have time. Tell them what they mean to you. Spend time with them. Because life is fragile. And war taught me that you can lose someone in an instant. One shot, one moment, and they're gone forever. Tommy Rizzo, Brooklyn, New York, 20 years old, my best friend, gone 78 years, but not forgotten. Never forgotten. If this story meant something to you, I'd appreciate if you'd share it. Leave a comment. Tell me about someone you've lost, someone you remember. And subscribe if you want to hear more. I've got more stories to tell, more names to say, more friends to remember, because that's what we owe them. We owe them our memory.